Welcome back. All the logistics stocks and all of the stocks which are in the unorganized sector seem to be seeing some amount of traction. So we were just talking about Rushil Decor, but the likes of even Somani Ceramics should come up for you, Kajaria should come up for you. All of these stocks would be in focus on account of the implementation of GST by the 1st of July. That's the Economic Affairs Secretary giving some statements at this point in time. Bata as well, up around 2.5%. But the Motilal Oswal Eureka Conference is currently underway in London, and from the sidelines of the conference, we're now joined by Sushmit Patodia, the head institutional sales at Motilal Oswal. Mr. Patodia, hi, thank you very much for joining in this afternoon. First up, the Indian markets are at new highs. What's your sense in terms of the move that we've seen?
So the recent move is tantamount to two reasons. One is we've seen the fastest earnings growth over the last 10 quarters. In Q3, the aggregate Motilal Oswal earnings growth was 22%, and for Nifty ex Tata Motors it was 15%. So I think earnings coming back is very important for the markets. And secondly, post demonetization, the domestic flows continue to surprise almost every one of us. And I think that's the other important factor that's led to these markets rallying so hard.
What's your view on the financial space, both banks and NBFCs? Many companies are attending the conference. Could you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so financials is easily the most represented and the most liked sector at the conference. We have a diverse financial offering for the clients from, as you rightly said, from RBL Bank to Yes Bank to Piramal Enterprises. So I think as long as the public sector banks are capital starved and are slow to grow, we will see market share shifting from public sector banks to private sector banks and financials, NBFCs. So I think this trend continues until we see a resolution of problems at the public sector banks. And as you know, the market is still 75% with the public sector banks. So value migration, the opportunity is still huge.
Okay. We've seen a big move with Reliance of late, and now there are even talks of some large mergers, such as, say, the likes of ONGC and HPCL in the PSU space, oil PSU space specifically. Can you give us a sense in terms of what kind of attention it would draw from, say, FIIs?
So, frankly, if you look at the OMCs within the oil and gas, they have been the biggest performers in the last 3 years. So from that perspective, people have warmed up to the reforms that the government has undertaken over the last couple of years, especially in the OMCs. With respect to ONGC, I think it's a direct play on the crude prices. So as crude prices stabilize or slowly inch up, that's how ONGC will get played. Coming to Reliance, I think everybody was surprised at the, you could say, advancement of the pricing launch, and we're still analyzing it. We think the Indian customer behavior is yet to be ascertained when they move from free of charge to paid services. We will wait and watch for the customer churn that may happen in Reliance Jio post the paid launch service.
Given that there are some firm announcements by Reliance Jio now and expected consolidation between Idea and Vodafone at the conference, what is the view which is getting formed as far as that space is concerned, the telecom space is concerned? Go on. So we did write a report a month ago where we mentioned that any consolidation would lead to bottoming out of the market. And our top pick in the sector is Bharti Airtel, primarily because of the leadership and the cost effectiveness of the profit and loss account. So we continue to like Bharti as our top pick in the telecom space. We think that this eventually is moving towards a 3.5 player market. And once the pricing stabilizes, then it becomes a game of capacity rather than ARPU. And with the 3-player industry, it's a little easier to make money than it was when it was a 6-7 player, everybody pulling in different directions. So we definitely think that the bottom is made for telecom sector, and our top pick is Bharti Airtel.
Okay, all right. We're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and speaking with us.
Ekta, look at some of the stocks which are
Yeah,
moving
the
up.
logistic stocks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you can look at Snowman Logistics.